I'm really happy that you all are joining here. We have an interest, to start with Raju Chamarti Garu, our Rotary Club leadership. Thank you, Andy. Thank you for joining. We have other leadership team as well. Sorry if I don't see you. And we have our Impact team leadership team as well. To start with Janavi as the president and Ramya and rest of our team, and we have our speakers and other rest of the team. So I will just go through agenda. So we will have our Janavi Chamarti do a welcome speech, and then we will have Anula to share her personal experience, and then we'll have Mailana from AADP, who is going to present, do the presentation on how things work, how we can help, and what are the strategies and all. And then we will have, Anika Mathur, who is a survivor, and we all know like how is her journey. We would like to definitely know her journey, and and then we will have a Q&A. No question is a dumb question, because even I started asking very very small questions, and then we had Pingaru and Mailana very patiently explaining us all those situations. And finally, we will have Ramya Kaja, who is our vice president for our Interact Club. She's gonna speak about what of that. So now I'm not gonna delay things. Janavi, please take over.
Yes. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's meeting. It's so nice to see all of you here. My name is Janavi Chamarti, and I am the president of the Interact Club of Silicon Andhra. I wanted to take a few minutes to introduce our leadership team. We have Ramya Gaja as our vice president, Saipi Supati as our secretary, Isha Tanugula as our treasurer, and we have 4 directors, Shreya Rayaprolu, Anila Chundi, Rima Chintala, and Avishkrita Naka. We also have 2 amazing mentors, Sneha Vedula and Dilip Sangaraju. So the Interact Club of Silicon Andhra strives to bring change to our communities and also beyond. We work with each other and our peers to ultimately bring smiles to people's faces. And in an effort to do so, we are working with AADP, Asian American Donor Program. To give a brief overview, AADP is an organization that brings awareness to the lack of Asian representation in the National Registry. And this is a prevalent issue because this registry is what helps other Asians battling blood cancer, sickle cell, and many more life-threatening diseases. And without this representation in the registry, it becomes very difficult for Asians, including Indians, to successfully find a match. So AADP is here with us today to talk to us about their cause and efforts, and also about how we can help and potentially be what ends up saving someone's life. We have many amazing people here for today's meeting. From AADP, we have guest speaker Mailana, a community engagement representative, who will be giving us a presentation very shortly. We have Anika Mathur, who was diagnosed with aplastic anemia, but is now a survivor thanks to a blood stem cell transplant. We have Surya, a donor hero, and we have Sim, a community ambassador for AADP, and also a member of the Rotary Club of Silicon Andhra. And to start off this meeting, we also have Anula. Anula is a dear friend of mine, but is also a campaigner for AADP, and she is here to talk about her personal experiences. So thank you all for being here, and without further ado, I'm handing it over to Anula.
Thank you, Janavi. Hello, everyone. Before I start, I'd like to just ask a question. How many of you guys actually know what a stem cell transplant or what a bone marrow transplant actually is, what it consists of, what it entails, how it works, and how it can save a life? Because frankly, I had no idea until my life kind of got turned around because of it. Some of you here knew my mom, and anybody that ever met her would tell you that she's extremely selfless. She just spread this positive energy wherever she went. And she was always looking to help people she knew, help people she didn't know. So one day, my sister and I were getting ready for school, like usual, and we were all packed, ready to go. And when it was time to leave, my mom was feeling sick, and she just said she had a headache. She was feeling nauseous. So she said, go to your neighbor's house and ask them if they can drop you off of school today. So we went to school. And later that day, we were expecting my mom's car during pickup time because she usually picks us up from school. But instead, we ended up going home with my friend's mom. And in the car, we learned that she was admitted to the hospital. And later, we learned that she was diagnosed with biphenotypic acute leukemia. So this diagnosis was in October of 2010, exactly 10 years ago. And this was obviously a very hard time for our family. My dad had to raise two young girls. I was 8 and my older sister was 12 at the time, all while taking my mom to countless visits to the hospital at random times during the day, during the night. I spent school days at my neighbors' houses just because my dad had to go to the hospital with my mom. So it was very taxing on all of us in different ways. But my mom went through chemotherapy, but that didn't really help her very much. So we decided that it was time to go look for a bone marrow donor. We began our search in December of 2010, and we kept looking and looking, but we couldn't find a match until May of 2011. But by this time, it was too late because she developed a lung infection. We decided to go through with the transplant anyways, but obviously it didn't hold, it didn't work. And on July 14th, we made the really hard decision of taking her off of life support. So my mom passed on July 14th of 2011. At the time, I was 8 years old, and my understanding of this entire situation was that I just went through this confusing 8 months, and then at the end of it, I just didn't have a mother. And as I've kind of grown up, learned more things about it, learned more about the world, I realized something about us is we have sympathy for others, but we lack empathy in the sense that if it doesn't directly concern us, we don't necessarily take action to do anything about it. We'll just sit there and feel bad about it. And this doesn't really work because we don't live in an independent society. We live in an interdependent society. And us as human beings, we're social beings. So we have to show sympathy, show empathy in order to help each other get through this thing called life. And just another thing that blocks people from helping others is just awareness and the spread of knowledge. How many of you know that you guys all have the power to save a life just by signing up to be a stem cell donor? I didn't. And just knowing that if I had gotten a match for my mom before she got the lung infection, my life would be completely different. She would still be here today, is obviously very sad. And that is due to the fact that we don't have enough South Asians in the registry. And so it's time that we spread awareness so that we get people to sign up, because we need people to know that they can save someone's mother, they can save someone's daughter, someone's brother, someone's sister. They have the power to do it, they just don't know that. So I urge all of you to sign up to be a stem cell donor because it's so simple to save an entire life. Thank you.
Thanks, Anula. We really, understand what you have been gone through, and the only sad part, which is as you said, the awareness. We all, at least I'm not aware until a couple of months back. How can everyone can help. Thank you for your time, and stay safe and be happy. I know Singaru, and then I know how you could have taken care of you both. Thank you for your time and sharing your. Now let's have Mylena, who is from AIDP. She's a community representative, and she has done so many of presentations and in giving awareness to everyone and anyone who needs help. I've been working with her to on any questions or anything, she's been there. So, Mailana, could you please go ahead and give your presentations? I'll make you so that you can share your screen.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm going to be talking a little bit about Be the Match and how you could become a donor and maybe help save someone's life. So for those of you who don't know what Be the Match is, it is the National Marrow and Stem Cell Donor Registry. So it is a database of people who have signed up and committed to be a donor if they're found to be a perfect match for someone in need. So who are these people? Who are the people that we help? Well, they're people who have been diagnosed with blood cancers like leukemia or blood diseases like sickle cell anemia. For some of them, chemotherapy and other treatments stop working or they just don't work at all. So they'll need a stem cell transplant to help cure them. Every year, there's about 18,000 patients that are in need of a transplant. And one of the first steps to getting there is finding a perfectly matched donor. Unfortunately, 70% of people won't have a perfect match in their family. For example, siblings only have a 25% chance of matching with each other, and parents are almost never a match for their children or vice versa. So if a patient is part of this 70%, they will need to look to the Be the Match registry and essentially find a stranger who's willing to give them a second chance at life. Here's the next video is going to be about a patient named Veer. We are working to help him find a match right now. He's based in the UK, so some of the statistics might be different from what I'll be presenting, but I think you all will be really touched by his story.
Hello, my name is Vic. I'm 2 years old.
Veer's a real character. He's smart, funny, adventurous, full of beans, and he's very cheeky. But underneath his healthy exterior, Veer's body has been hiding a very rare genetic disorder.
I got anemia. You gonna help me?
This means that his bone marrow is not producing enough stem cells, and so his blood counts are dropping. He will always have a higher risk of certain cancers, but soon he will need a stem cell transplant. Due to his Asian origin, Veer only has a 20% chance of finding a good match. Unfortunately, no one in our family is a match, so now we are relying on the generosity of an unrelated stem cell donor from anywhere in the world. All it takes to register to become a donor is a cheek swab. You have the rare opportunity to save a life of someone like Veer, so why not take it? There really couldn't be an easier way to save a life.
So as you might have heard in the video, the more Asian people that sign up, the chances of Veer finding a donor increases, and that's why diversity matters in the registry. Matching is based largely on race and ethnicity, so an Indian patient like Veer will most likely need an Indian donor, or a Chinese patient will most likely need a Chinese donor. But if you look on this graph, you'll see that not everybody has an equal chance of finding a match. Patients with the highest chances are those who are white at about 77%. And as you look through the different communities, those odds decrease. And patients who are multiracial actually have the lowest chance of finding a match at just 18%. The next video is going to be, it's kind of going to show you what happens if a patient doesn't find a match.
Hi, everyone. And thank you all for praying for me. What I like to do with my family is to hang out and play together. My wish is that I could stay with my parents and my siblings and stay here all with you.
Okay, so now that we all kind of have a better idea of why it's really important for people to sign up, now I want to talk about what it means to be a donor. So the number one thing is that commitment is key. When a patient's doctor finds that there might be a potential donor for their patient, they will let that patient know to kind of prepare them for the procedures that might be coming up. But when a donor says no, unfortunately, the doctor will have to go back to the patient and their families and let them know that that donor is unavailable. And you can imagine how heartbreaking that might be for the patient and their families. But as a donor, these things will be anonymous. So let's say that you are on the registry and you say yes to being a match. What's going to happen is a coordinator will contact you, ask you some health questions, answer any questions that you might have, and then they'll set up an appointment to confirm that you're a perfect match for that patient. So at this point right now, you're just like a potential match. The confirmatory typing is a blood test that Be the Match will coordinate for you. So you just show up to the appointment, they'll work with your schedule, and they'll set up that appointment somewhere local. And then they'll also set up another appointment to make sure you're perfectly healthy to donate. As a donor, your health and safety is our priority. Again, they will work with you with your schedule and try to make these appointments locally. And you don't have to pay for anything if there is travel involved. So if you do have to donate somewhere where flying is involved or you might need to stay at a hotel, Be the Match will cover that. These are the two donation processes. I know we do have a donor here. I don't know if he's going to speak, but the peripheral blood stem cell collection is the most common donation. It's about 80% of the time. This includes injections of filgrastim 5 days leading up to the appointment. And it's very similar to a platelet or plasma donation. So you could see Dinesh, he's sitting in a chair. He has one tube in one arm to withdraw the blood and the other one to bring the blood back to his body after the stem cells have basically been filtered out. It does take pretty long, about 3 to 6 hours depending, but it's an outpatient procedure, so the donor will be home the same day. And then the most commonly known donation is the marrow donation, but this only happens about 20% of the time, and it's done under anesthesia, so the donors won't feel anything. Doctors withdraw liquid marrow from the hip bone, so nothing solid is being taken out of the body. And it's also an outpatient procedure, so most donors are home the same day. And now I want to talk a little bit about how you can save a life. So the first thing is to sign up as a donor. If you're between 18 to 44 and you meet our health and eligibility guidelines, it's really easy to sign up. You just fill out an online form and swab like this girl is doing. If you're between 45 and 60, you can still sign up, but there is a $100 fee that we can't cover. This is just because doctors found that patients have better outcomes when the donor is younger. So if you are somehow ineligible to register, there's other ways to help, like hosting a drive. So you can host a virtual drive like right now. You could also host a drive at your school, at your job, at your place of worship, really anywhere where there's people that we can reach out to, we can host a drive there. And then you can also volunteer. Again, you can host a drive, encourage people to register. You could just raise awareness by doing a presentation. At AADP, we have other volunteer and internships available. So you could email me if you're interested in any of that. And when you're ready to sign up, all you have to do is go to join.bethematch.org/RCOSA or text RCOSA to 61474. And what's going to happen is it'll take you to the online form. And once you fill that out, you'll get your swab kit in the mail. It's 2 Q-tips. You just brush the inside of your cheeks and just don't forget to return your swab kit so we can add you to the registry. And that's all. Does anybody have any questions?
I think yes, we will take a question. Later point of this session. So let me say, give me 1 second. And as per agenda, let's have Anika Mathur. Anika Mathur is a survivor. Who has been went through the treatment, and she is surviving, and she's really doing good. She is taking medications now. I really appreciate Anika for joining us to educate us how important it is to donate. How it will be helpful. Please go ahead.
So, hi, my name is Anika, and today I'm going to share with you the story behind my bone marrow transplant. So, I was diagnosed with aplastic anemia in May of 2019, and I got my transplant this February. So, about my life before diagnosis, I was always busy with clubs in school and sports outside. I had been learning classical dance for 9 years, and I was supposed to take part in a recital in June of 2019. I got my black belt in Taekwondo 2 years ago, not long before the diagnosis. My hobbies at home included painting, crafting, and singing. I noticed something wrong when I started feeling unusually tired and got bad headaches towards the end of my junior year of high school, but I ignored it, thinking it was from stress because of finals. I was told it was probably the flu or some common virus, so I was unsuspecting when I was called to the hospital for some blood work. This all happened 3 days before my finals. So in May of 2019, I was diagnosed with aplastic anemia. I didn't think much of it because I thought the cause was an easily treatable iron deficiency and that I would just need supplements, so I was surprised to find out that I would need to be at the hospital for a while. Turns out it's an autoimmune disease that attacks the bone marrow, preventing it from producing new blood. My initial treatment was called IST, or immunosuppressive therapy. This therapy is less invasive than a BMT, but the side effects I got from it ended up being much worse. So I was given medicines to suppress my immune system in hopes that it would rebuild itself properly. But in the process, my low immunity caused a lot of trouble. I had infections in many parts of my body, and it affected multiple organs. The worst was in my lungs, an infection called aspergillus, which had to be reduced with the help of 2 big surgeries. At the same time, I started my senior year of high school. I had to drop my plans of taking honors classes and took just enough credits to graduate. It was especially hard to focus, so staying in touch with friends and being included in the lives of others was one thing which really helped keep me happy through everything which was going on. I was in the hospital from June to October of 2019. Coming home in October after being in the hospital for so long is what made me feel a lot better, even though I hadn't gotten physically much healthier. I was able to spend time with friends and family in a better environment than the hospital. This was a great experience for me because I was in isolation for a long time and could only talk to others over the phone. I was at home for about 2 months before I was told that my original treatment wasn't completely affected. So I had to move on to the next step, which was a bone marrow transplant. So about my search for a donor, I was very lucky to already have a donor who was in the system, but they needed to pass a series of tests to see if they could be healthy enough to donate. Young donors are better because they're more likely to be healthier and have better functioning marrow. Since we were not sure if my potential donor would be cleared, we held many drives all over the country and in India as well, and signed up hundreds of people in hopes of finding another candidate. The downside of us doing this last minute was that it would take months for people's results to come out to find another match. We didn't find anyone and settled on the donor I had, even though their requirements were not perfect. I was very lucky because they were my only match out of more than 37 million people in the world's registry. Some people find 3 or 4 matches who don't pass health requirements or decline to donate. In the US and Europe, becoming a donor is free, but some other countries require people to pay to sign up. This makes it much harder for people with non-European backgrounds to find donors, and some do not find one for a long time or at all. In February of 2020, I got my bone marrow transplant. I was admitted a week early for the preconditioning process. This included radiation, chemotherapy, and a procedure to put an access point in my neck where blood could be drawn and transfused, which I still have. I lost my hair and I felt very tired during the whole process, and some longer lasting effects from the chemotherapy still haven't gone away, even today. I was in the hospital under close watch for a little over a month in total. There was a time period of 100 days after the transplant where I had to be extra careful and go in multiple times a week for checkups and transfusions, as I was still in the beginning stages of recovery. A new bone marrow can take several months or even up to a year to grow into a new body and become fully functional. I am only about 6 or 7 months in, and I still need time to fully recover. However, once the marrow starts up again, it can be a permanent cure. So, post-transplant, I've been home since March and I'm making progress with my recovery. My BMT saved my life and I was able to graduate high school on time with my class. I'll be attending college this fall and I'll be studying environmental science. Although I can't visit my friends or go outside right now, it's nice to know that everyone is being careful and taking precautions to be safe nowadays. Being in the middle of a pandemic can show others a little bit of what it's like to be immunocompromised and constantly having to be clean and distanced. I can be assured that my friends and family will understand how it is for me and many others because they have now also experienced it, and they will be more mindful when I ask them to wear masks and be careful around me. From my experience in the hospital, I learned that patience, resilience, and hope can get you through anything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anika. We are very happy that we could see you through. You are into the normal life. You're getting better, and day by day. But having speak about Anika, now it's a turn for Veer. It's a sad story when you hear about Veer. Being a 3-year-old kid when he's going through the situations, right? We don't want at least an Indian because we can only help Indians because there is definitely genes matter, right? So we cannot have people like Veer or any other patient and keep waiting for donors to register. We want to register as many as we can, right? And I want all of you to please support this cause and please come forward and donate yourself, your stem cells. And any questions we always are here. I would like to take question answers. Before that, Chin, please have few words and then let us know if you have anything you want to add to this.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Dilip. And Anika, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for taking us through the journey which you went through. I know you can understand how difficult it would be for a patient to go through this. And thanks a lot for coming in today. Now, like Anika mentioned, the journey for the patient is so difficult, which most of us don't really realize. We just hear of leukemia or any serious blood disorder as something which a patient is going through, and it is very easy to sympathize, like Anula mentioned. So most of us, we do sympathize when we hear about it and we think, oh yeah, it is a difficult disease and they go through. But only when we realize what they're exactly going through, when we empathize with them and when we feel that, and that is when we ask the question as to what can we do as individuals. So as you have heard so far from Mailana and from Anika and Anula, is that at some point after all these medications, chemotherapy and other things go off, it is with the bone marrow transplant. And that is when people like you and me, we come in there. So it is in the hands of people there then. So the matching person it's very rare, extremely rare to get a match, like they mentioned already. One thing is, it is, it's not the blood type match. If it is a blood type, you can see this. It is something called a HLA, human leukocyte antigen match, which is in our DNA. So there has to be 10 factors which has to match, and each one has more than 100 different variations. That's what makes it difficult. Because it is a DNA match, and that becomes more ethnic based. So if it is an Indian who is going through that, it most probably the person who can save that person or a perfect match would be another Indian or a South Asian. So the same issue all other ethnic minorities have too, whether it is African Americans or Hispanics, most of them have the same challenge. So we got to get as many people and as many representation in the registry. So that way we can at least help all this. There are hundreds of patients who are still waiting for a donor. Like Dilip mentioned, it's only very rarely some of the patients find it. Like in case of Hanika, we did realize how difficult it was, right? Like one match, and then we got to look for. I still remember the conversation I had with her parents, and then we were running drives. So we keep running drives here, and then we want everybody to really realize that anybody who is between 18 and 44 in US, we have no reason at least not to do it. This is a comparatively simple process. And we are really, really privileged to have somebody who recently donated, Surya Kottapalli, with us now. And thank you very much, Surya, for joining us. Thanks a lot. If Surya wants to say a few words, you can, or people have any questions for Surya about the process. He has done it just days, right? Just days before. And thanks a lot, Surya, Anika, Surya, and all the heroes who keep volunteers like me going. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Firstly, I'd like to thank Kamachi because I had got registered because of Kamachi. Kamachi, I think people like you and Sim who give us that awareness really helps a lot. I'm a little nervous to talk. I'm actually more nervous than the bone marrow donation actually itself. That was more easy. I was quite excited the first time when I heard that I was a match. I was a little nervous because, like most of us, don't know what the problems with the patients would have. I was a little nervous when I went for the first. They take the blood samples again further to test if everything is fine. I'll tell you what happened. I was in the cancer department. I was made to sit, and the nurse was getting all the injections and other things. I saw a couple of patients. One was a very old lady, and there was another white guy who they came. They were sitting, and they had a pipe here. I think they were getting some blood transfusions and everything done. Looking at that, it really shook me and thought, we are very safe. I mean, what we are doing is nothing when we compare to the kind of pain they undergo to overcome in their personal lives. After that, even the slightest hesitation or a fear has gone off. I was like, okay, this is nothing that for us. It's just a matter of a few days, and you don't have any pain because the entire process, they take care of it very well. Even I would say a lot of us have a phobia that, okay, injections, IV are big things. I mean, you get scared when people are not used to it. Believe me, they had even given the pain, the local anesthesia on the hand so that you would not even get a pain when they put the IVs in your hand. So it's the slightest thing that we can do, and in return you have a greatest opportunity to help somebody. I would be really willing to do it again and again if given an opportunity. It's quite simple and easy. It might feel scared at the initial moment about the entire process, but it's the best thing and the easiest thing that we can do from our side. So thank you again.
Thank you, Surya. As I keep saying, you are the hero for this session. I'd like to open up this forum to for a question and answer. Please feel free to ask questions. No questions are dumb question because this is new for everyone. So please, any questions anyone has, I'm trying to see how.
Hi, this is. Can I ask a quick question?
Sure, and Madrigar, please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So I have two questions actually. So I'm going to start off with my first question. So for the stem cell donation, right? So one is regarding the age group. So I saw something about 18 to 44 in your slides, but I did see when I looked up online. And again, one of the Interact Club member has actually educated me, my daughter Ramya Kaja. So, but again, she explained that it is going to be 18 to 44, and I saw the slides too. But I think online says it's 18 to 61 is what they maintain in the registry. That is my question number one. Okay, and should I wait for the answer, or can I ask the second question?
I can answer the first one. I kind of have bad memory, so.
Okay.
But anyone between 18 to 60 can't sign up as a donor, but for people over 45, they have to pay a $100 fee.
Okay.
The match and AADP, we only cover the fee for those 18 to 44.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you so much. And my second question is actually how many times a person can actually do this kind of a stem donation in their lifetime? Like maybe, is it like a restricted, like one time they're done, or they can do it later if there is a further second match or something? Do you know it?
There is a limit. I believe it's about 2 times. Usually, if someone is called multiple times, their tissue type might be pretty common, and there will be other donors who have that same tissue type. Yeah.
Okay.
But if, for example, you donate to a patient and they relapse and need another stem cell transplant, they might ask you to donate again. But they don't allow you to donate over and over again because it is also for your health and your safety.
Okay, thank you so much. And today's session has been very elaborate, and thank you everyone for explaining it so nicely. And it's a very good session. And everyone, even sharing their own personal experiences, that was really wonderful. That is the best part of what I learned by joining today's session. Thank you so much.
Anyone else have questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Nula.
So if the patient is of like South Asian descent, let's say, is the only possible HLA matching like another person with South Asian descent, or can it be matched with any ethnicity?
It's possible that they'll match with someone from any ethnicity, but most likely it will be from someone who's of South Asian descent. For AADP, we actually had a Filipino patient, and her donor was Indian. So technically, they're still in the same race, the Asian race, but different ethnicities. But yeah, it's possible, but I would say it's very rare.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Okay.
So I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Maybe Malana might have covered it, but my question is how long it will take for a donor to recover, right? See if it is like 18 to 40 plus, right? It's a working professional, right? How long he has to take a break to get to our office back? Just a ballpark. Do we have a definite answer?
Yeah, it definitely depends on everyone's body. But usually for donors who do the stem cell donation, like Surya, it's very little to no recovery time. Sometimes they're back to work or school the next day or in a couple of days, but the doctors will tell you, take it easy for a few days. For bone marrow donation, we ask that people take a few days off. But again, there are also cases of people who request a whole week off of work, and they're actually okay to go back to work within 2 days. So it depends. Everyone's body is different, but you wouldn't be stuck in bed for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks at a time. Yeah.
Thank you. That is helpful.
Yes, if to continue on to Margaret's question, the 18 to 44 limit is in US, whereas in UK and in India, it is 18 to 50. So people can register till they are 50-year-old. And like Mailana mentioned, till you're 61, I think you are in the registry. You can. But they typically prefer people who are at a younger age group, so they have a healthy stem cell.
Thank you, Sanjay. Any quick questions we have?
Hi, this is Kamakshi, and I have a question. So when we did drives, and as part of the volunteer education program, there was one point about cord cell donation, which is if when you're pregnant and you're delivering a baby, right? There's the cord stem cell that sometimes the parents can choose to store for their own use in the future for their kids, or if they don't want to, I think there's a point I was told, but I'm trying to get to understand that a little bit more, and even for our friends here, even if you don't choose to store it for yourself, you can donate it. And I understand that also has an impact, and that could also be helpful in some way for treating some of these conditions. Can someone elaborate on that point?
Definitely, yes. In fact, I know 2 patients who have received cord blood transplant, and they are doing well now. It has been several years right now. One is a good friend of mine in Houston. So it is possible. One thing is, it is really rare because they don't usually have enough quantity in the cord blood, so that can be a challenge. But now they have certain ways of increasing it, but it is a challenge compared to the other methods, PBSC or anything. But cord blood is really pristine. It is extremely good match. If there is a match for cord blood, I hear that it can even be a 7 out of 10 match. Like I told you, there is 10, right? They usually go with 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10, and in extremely rare cases, you have 8 out of 10. But in cord blood is very, very pristine, even if it is, not an exact match, it still would be helpful. But cord blood is not that popular mainly because of the quantity of cells they can get from a child. If it is for a younger person, a child, it is easier.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any more? I think those are really good questions and very educated answers. So having said that, let me quickly share my screen.
Can I ask one question, Dilip?
Sure, sir. Rajapur, please go ahead.
Thank you. So this is probably for Mailana or for Sam. First of all, thank you for arranging this seminar. It's a wonderful thing, great cause. And, it's like, you're playing God by saving somebody's life. What kind of an opportunity is that, right? And it's not just the person that's receiving it, it's the family, the community around that person. You are basically lifting their entire lives, the whole generation. So it's a wonderful opportunity. I think, we should all be every day praying for, give us an opportunity to save somebody's life. So the first step would be to get there and register. So now I will come to the question. The question is, when we talk about the South Asian population, we know how many people are there and how many we do have in the registry today. What percentage? Is it 1%, 0.5%, 0.1%? Where do we stand? How big is this problem? How many people are there still not knowing and being ignorant about this opportunity?
So in the US registry, the Be the Match registry, it's about 1% South Asian. I believe that's about 290,000 individuals only. So, we really want to get that number up because the Be the Match registry, I believe it's like 12 million people.
No. So, I think you answered that question in a different way. You basically said, of the registry, the South Asians are about 1%. I am talking about how many South Asians are in the registry compared to how many South Asians are living on this earth. So that would be even more pathetic, what I think. So, so anyway, so there is a lot of work for all of us to do. Please, take this up. We can be anything that we want to be, but this is an opportunity for something you to be great, to feel good that okay, end of the day, or maybe we helped save somebody's life, and they made a difference in their lives of so many people. So be an ambassador, each and every one of you. Talk about it extensively. We keep posting so many things on our social media and whatnot. Ask a question to your circles. Okay, hey, are you in the registry? Okay, do you want to save somebody's life? Getting that opportunity is huge. Getting that opportunity is big. Yes, you feed hungry, for one maybe 6 hours, 8 hours, you take their pain away. But you are saving somebody's life. Just see how profound that is. Okay, so please take it to heart, and I want to thank the Interact Club, the leadership, for taking this initiative to promote and then support the AADP, and I want to congratulate everybody. The job is just started. Let us go and do something good, something that we can all feel, okay, hey, we did something. Maybe somebody somewhere in the world is benefiting from it. We don't have to know who that is. But, just the opportunity itself, is tremendous. Okay.
The question about earlier, just a quick comment about, how many times can you donate? I think even being able to be a donor one time in your life is the most rewarding. I think I just have to comment about that. I mean, every day I pray that I get a call from Be the Match. Okay, let me be a donor.
I have go ahead, Maithili. After you, I want to say one.
Yeah. No, I mean, I always pray that I always I know I'm in the registry myself, so I hope one day I do get to save that life, because I'm in the healthcare field myself, and I would put my life in front of anyone, animal or person. So if you know me, I put my life in front of anyone to put myself out there. So I want to also say thank you, for sharing your stories. And I definitely can empathize for sure. So, your stories and even the videos that you guys showed was very moving, and definitely got me teary-eyed. So thank you for all you guys do. And I will do everything I can in my power to try to get more people, my friends and family, to sign up as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Maithili. And I have a small story to tell too. Maybe I'll just take another 30 seconds or so. It's not a very successful one, but I was this close for being a donor. I have registered this, probably like 15, 20 years ago, when I went to school with Sim, and then that is where we did probably. And then I got a call one day morning after 15, 20 years, and said, hey, hey, are you still here? Are you the person? What's your condition? You probably could be a match for somebody. And I was so elated that day. And I said, yes, I want to do something. But they said, okay, we just want to make sure, you are reachable, you are here and you are there, and all those other things, basic screening. But after that, they never followed up with me. I'm not sure, whatever has happened. Maybe, the recipient.
They found a different donor, or they wouldn't have had a need after that.
Yeah, whatever it is, I thought, I was so lucky to say, okay, hey, I did, help somebody. But it was not meant to be. Maybe at some point of time, I might get another chance.
If I get that call, they're like, yes, take me right now. Send me the money.
No, I said the same thing. You don't have to tell me. I will fly by myself. I told them. But
just tell me where
they
to
said
go.
That is not how it works, sir. You have to wait, and then we will tell you, come back and when it's needed. So and that's what happened. So that is my story. Unsuccessful and not complete yet. So we will see. So so
is a good idea. The thought itself matters a lot. Having that positive attitude and waiting for an opportunity itself is a halfway you have succeeded in having a good heart. You all, Maithili, you too.
Thank you, Maithili. Thank you.
Another quick question. So based on the previous question that Raju raised and Mailana answered, it got me thinking. So if we said we have such a high percentage of Caucasians registered in the registry, how are they doing it? How is it that their community knows about it? How are they reaching out to people and getting people on the registry? And why can we not just follow what they're doing, right?
Right. I think a lot of it also has to do with different cultural beliefs. One thing that we're trying to do with Be the Match is, come up with more culturally relevant materials so that we can share it with more people. For example, the online form is only in English and Spanish. So we're trying to get more languages there too, because not everyone can read, speak, or write in English or Spanish perfectly, but that doesn't mean they can't be a perfect match for someone.
I have, sorry. Anika, you want to say something?
Can I just add to that? I think, I believe the reason why there are a lot of more Caucasian donors in the registry is that in some countries in Europe, I believe at the age of 18, you are required to sign up to be a bone marrow donor. So I think they should try to figure out ways to bring more people in, in South Asian communities, maybe in some parts of India, make it to whoever can access it and is willing to do it, make signing up free and more easily accessible to people.
I definitely agree with what Anika says, because just like how, in when we go to the DMV to get our driver's license and they ask, do you want to be a donor? I'm always checking yes, but I think they should, instead of making it an optional thing, they should make it a requirement, like in other countries, like just all of a sudden do it. But another thing, as mentioned, that it's the cultural thing too, because not everyone. Not everyone. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't want to sound offensive saying that, but I don't know if you guys know what I'm trying to say. Just not everyone, knows, that the feeling of stepping forward. I don't know how to put that.
Okay.
Take over.
Is it
Okay,
purely
I have-
lack of awareness that is
Yeah.
stopping other cultures to donate? Is it just lack of information out there, or lack of
Yes, it's lack of
It is lack of awareness. Okay. Okay. See, I did my first drive in 1993. That is when Raju registered too, right? I registered, and till today I've been really, really unfortunate. Did not get an opportunity. They didn't call me at all. I wasn't a match to anyone. So all this time, I have probably more than 100 drives, and then talked to several thousand possibilities. One thing is, like most of you answered it right, it is a cultural thing. That is what we see. The differences, one of those things can be cultural. And I know, Maitri, what you were coming to say, that is exactly what I think of too as an answer. One, and then awareness. Yes, awareness is the big thing. That is why we are doing all of this stuff. In fact, when each and every person, I had to spend 5 to 10 minutes to talk to them before they make a decision on that. So imagine in a drive when you have to do that. And even after that, what happens is, let us say if there is a couple, one of them sign up and the other one says, oh no, either my other party is already signing up, I'm okay with it. So that is where that awareness is, right? One.
So,
and
how does the Caucasian population get this awareness?
I don't know. I don't know. One thing I know, you have a very valid question,
I'm not trying
Kamakshi,
to
and I
put you
was
to the
coming
point, but I'm trying to think out of the box.
Yes,
And yes, we all have a
exactly.
problem.
Right.
Should we be doing something else too?
No, one thing is it is the ratio of the population, right? That is why there are more people registered here. The registries in this country and in Europe started long back. So there are. In fact, quite a few of my colleagues who are Caucasians are not aware of this. So you are right in that sense as to, but it is the fraction of the population, right? Ratio of the population, one. And the second aspect, why Caucasians find it easy to get a match is it's not only the number of people who are registered, it is that they find it easy to get their particular haplotypes which Caucasians and Europeans have are more easier to find than what South Asians have. South Asians or some other minorities have.
We are very unique and precious. That's why
we are really unique. So that there are two aspects to it. One, not enough representation. The other one is the rarity with which you can find the haplotypes, they call it, right? So these are the two aspects. But definitely to some extent, my theory is that in places like India, right, what we do is because of the population, we see a lot of things. Any person who is growing up in India would have seen so many miseries in life, right? From poor to people suffering and all sorts of things there. So the mentality there is slightly different there. Even though we know how to empathize, but it's kind of like the priorities wise, we feel that we can get more awareness with something else.
Too, like, survival of the fittest, even though we can't empathize, we can empathize definitely.
We can empathize. Yes, empathy is there.
Like how many tragedies we see on a day-to-day basis. I mean, right now in Hyderabad with the floods, but like you were saying, it's definitely, and especially, if we're thinking, how the minorities now, our percentage of people that are signed up within the registry. I mean, now in the U.S. with, intercultural marriages happening all over the place, Black people marrying Chinese people or white people marrying Indian people. Now, that population, which is growing slowly in this generation going forward, now you can imagine how it's going to be for them too.
It's a challenge, huge challenge.
Thank you. So sorry to interrupt. Just a quick time check. We are running late already. So I really appreciate the discussion we are having right now. Definitely we can do a lot more. Whoever wants to help us, definitely please reach out to us. Please join your hands with us. Let me share a quick screen share, and then I will share how do we how can we help So an Interact team, right? The Interact team, Rotary Club of Silkanandra Interact team, is trying to do a drive, starting tomorrow for a 2-week drive. Okay, so the need here is, to help here. I mean, how can we help need here is, as much as donations we can able to get registered and get the start things completed. So please join us. Please text RCSA to 61474. You will get the text and you will have the proceedings. You can proceed with the registration and you will get the start kit free, and then you can see it back, right? So we really want everyone in this session. Please have a look at this flyer. You can find us on Rotary Silkanandra YouTube channel, or even on Facebook, or even reach out to any of us. Singaru or ADP or even myself or Raj Garu or all the leadership team, like the youth team. I really appreciate all the leadership teams, definitely Ramya and everyone else. So we will be aggressively looking for donors not registered. So please do your part and join your hands, be part of it. And just to add, on Sunday 5:30, we're also having more discussions on a bigger note. Anyone wants to join that as well, please reach out to Rotary Club of Silkanandra. That said, a big thank you. Thank you to all. Mostly I would say, start with Mailama, Kim, and let's pray for peace and do our part. I really appreciate everyone out here. It's a great night, and I think with that I would like to say thank you everyone. And if you don't have any questions, I would say goodbye and stay safe and please. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
See you soon, and please text us or call us. Bye. Yeah, big claps to everyone. Yeah.
You.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.